Hello, everyone. Uh, my name is Elvin Sababi. I'm a junior partner at the... Is the sound weird? No, it's okay. Good, great. I'm a junior partner at the law firm Nordic Legal. We're specialized in gambling and Web3. And I am also co-founder of full-service Web3 consultancy firm called First Block, which is based in Sweden, but we also do international projects. And I will be your moderator for this panel that is named Blockchain in the CEE region and beyond. And instead of me introducing every panelist and possibly getting something wrong, I thought I would make it easy for myself and let them introduce themselves. So, Dimitri, if you would like to begin, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. I'm the first one, so. Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Dmitry Machikhin. I'm the head and the founder of BetaK. We are making crypto assets more legal as they are, so we understand everything when it comes to taxes and AML and crypto. And so I'm here to tell you more about upcoming regulation and stuff towards banks and crypto compliance and stuff.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you. My name is Dean or Dejan, depends on the pronouncing, Rakic. I come from Germany. I'm not German, but I live in Germany for long years. Last 29 years, I'm in the computer science, and last 12 years in the blockchain industry. Last 2 years, I filled out 7 patents in the blockchain area on a different purpose of use of blockchain technology, not just such a crypto, but the blockchain technology. Besides that, working as a chief scientist and a CEO from a block control company, I'm lecturing on the 3 universities in the data science, big data analytics, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and digital economy. I hope some kind of my experience will be helpful.
Hello. So first of all, thank you very much for the organizer for inviting me here. I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Marcin Żatecki, and shortly about me, I have more than 20 years experience in the IT industry. I have worked as a technical blockchain consultant since 2016. I'm also technical outreach specialist in BSV, Bitcoin Association with headquarters in Zug, and co-founder and managing director of the Polish Blockchain Association. So the last 7 years, I'm engaged in the blockchain technology from the technical and the business side. So I think everything right now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Jakub Tesas. I'm Innovation, Digital, and Emerging Tech Lead at EY Prague. In the technology consulting for past 10 years. 2 of them I spent working for our global innovation headquarters in the Bay Area. As my position hints, I'm responsible for our business innovation, running the innovation portfolio, coming up with digital offerings as well as enabler projects based on emerging tech such as blockchain or Web3. So once again, thanks for having me here.
Brilliant. Lovely and very experienced panel, it seems. And personally, I have been in the blockchain industry since 2016. Initially got into it to make money buying crypto, but fell in love with the technology and have stayed since then. And for me, at least, this last year and a half have been, I would say, the most eventful year ever in blockchain. We have seen tremendous development in the technology with new scalable and much more flexible blockchain solutions. But besides that, we have also had some major negative events. We have had Celsius, FTX, Terra Luna all blowing up. And naturally, this has resulted in some bad press for the industry, but also regulatory scrutiny. We saw the SEC serving Wells notices to many of the leading US brands, including Coinbase, just last week. And here in Europe, the European Union has, as a result, fast-tracked their new regulation called MiCA, and MiCA is short for Markets in Crypto Assets. And for those of you that have not heard about MiCA previously, in short, it is a very broad regulation that covers the entire blockchain industry ecosystem. So if you are an actor within the crypto space, you will be covered by MiCA, most likely at least. And it imposes strict rules for certain actors, such as issuers of stablecoins, and softer rules, but still rules and administrative requirements that you need to adhere by if you are in the space. And as a legal advisor for crypto startups in Sweden, I was quite irritated when the regulation came out because I thought it was very burdensome. And my initial thought was that it would stifle European innovation, that we would lose our best blockchain developers and that they would go offshore so they could develop in peace. However, something that quite surprised me was that as the regulation was finalizing, we started hearing clients, big clients that previously were not in the blockchain industry, reaching out and asking for help to enter it. And when I asked them, why have you waited so long? They told me that the legal uncertainty made it unattractive to be in blockchain and implement blockchain solutions. However, with regulations coming into effect, this was something that they wanted to look into and also implement, because they had heard great things, but they were worried about huge fines or doing something illegal. And now I'm very positive about the Nordic and especially Swedish blockchain scene. And considering that we have an international crowd and also international panel here, I would like to ask our panelists, and because we're in the Czech Republic, maybe Jakub, you could start. Could you maybe share some insights about the Czech blockchain industry, and if you know of any great projects, or if you can share any good success stories that you have been a part of or seen?
Sure. Gladly to answer that question. It's as you can imagine, it's very vibrant ecosystem in Czech Republic. And maybe just one fun fact. I won't comment on regulatory anymore, but it says that Europe's best and greatest export is regulatory. So regulation, here it comes. But in terms of Czech Republic, it all started with Bitcoin in 2009. Czech population is very tech savvy. Our universities are producing a lot of tech talent. So early on, a lot of people started mining Bitcoin. From that, they moved to professional operation of these services. But from my perspective, the main change came up with DevCon 2018, DevCon 4, which was held in Prague. By coincidence, we also introduced our first version of first solution, Nightfall, in there. But this really sparked the ecosystem in a more professional way, and drove the focus more into development of DeFi applications, of core infrastructure protocols. So there's a bunch of smaller or larger companies dedicated to development of the field of core infrastructure. I know about at least several venture capital funds that are really funding these initiatives, including alternative layer ones, various infrastructure players. You asked for some big names. I didn't want to name some, but just to name two that comes to my mind. One of the major hardware wallet producers, Satoshi Labs, is based in Prague. They produce Trezor. Another great example from the world of metaverse, that's VR, MetaWorld, Somnium Space. So Czech Republic is full of talent. If you're looking for tech-savvy people, a lot of students coming out of the universities are turning their focus towards Solidity and Ethereum ecosystem. So I think this is the right place. And to conclude this part, I would really like to invite you to Prague Blockchain Week, which is held in June 2nd till 11. There's a lot of very interesting speakers coming, including Ethereum Foundation, a lot of major DeFi protocols. So that's the place to come to learn more and see what's happening in the space in the region.
Lovely. I will be going, so I'll see you then. And Marcin, would you say that the scene in Poland is as vibrant as well, or?
So in the Poland, since 2016, every year we see much bigger adoption if we're talking about the blockchain technology. We founded Polish Blockchain Association 2018, and our three main pillars was education, networking, and implementation. What we saw in 2017 around that the blockchain is something new, and mostly the blockchain is combined with cryptocurrency or scam, something like that. Maybe not the cryptocurrency, but the scam. And we decided to put much more effort in the education part. So we founded Polish Blockchain Association, and we organize meetups, webinars, or also conferences. And last year we organized the conferences where we invited the biggest Polish organization, public organization also, which implemented blockchain technology. And a lot of people at the audience saw that this is not only the headlines on the article, something like that, but the big Polish company also implemented blockchain technology, but they don't write about it. So this year we organized the second conferences. We combined IoT, AI, and blockchain technology, and we saw that this company, which 4 years ago didn't interested to participate in the event, right now they want to participate, they want to show what they do. So we see the progress. And one more things, the biggest Polish bank, PKO Polish Bank, 3-4 months ago implemented, jumped into the metaverse. So they implemented first use case in metaverse. It was very strange because this is it is the biggest Polish bank. They jumped into metaverse. They try to understand what is the metaverse. They try to understand what is this community. And we saw that it's a public, it's a fintech, it's a finance institute, but they try to explore this market. They are interested what it is. They try to feel it, understand everything. So we see that each year we have a progress, and we see that in the next few years we will have really good use cases in Poland. Not only POC, but really good project.
Yeah, amazing. Sounds bullish for both Poland and the Czech Republic. It's funny that you mention that a bank is trying to enter the metaverse and also adopting blockchain development. In Sweden, it's the opposite. If you mention to a bank that you want to do anything Web3 related, you will not get a bank account, and they will threaten to kick you out if you get any money from a crypto exchange. And unfortunately, the industry has, and banks are not, in Sweden at least, getting along that well as maybe here in Poland or in Poland. But I wanted to ask, Dimitri, is that your experience as well, that banks are hesitant towards blockchain and crypto specifically, or and how can we perhaps then overcome that bridge and find?
All right, that is a tough one. Okay. So, okay, imagine you're a bank. I believe some of you were in banks a couple of times, right? Or some of you maybe used to work there. And a guy like me, a crypto guy who's in space since 2015, I'm in crypto space. I go to bank with the money, with the Bitcoin I sold before, and tell him, oh, here's my money, I just sold Bitcoin. And he's like, I mean, compliance officer or a bank officer or whoever, he's like, oh my God, where did money came from? And the one thing we, I mean, crypto people, I would say, should understand is that with only proper origin or source of money, we can go to the bank. I mean, if we are a company, if we are a private person, with only proper 100% origin or purity, we can go in it, because we with all of these regulations, I mean, MiCA, FATF, etc., they all try to froze crypto, to doesn't allow to froze and to stop all of it, everything related to crypto, because it's kind of, you know, menace. And not only because FTX collapsed, but because of some of the bad statistics from Interpol, from illicit activity related to crypto, only because of that. So, but it's, you know, it's doable. So we can do that, because the IML technology goes forward, and in the future, if that guy, let's say me, who was in that bank, will be able in future, because it's now a fact, but not many banks are in there, but in the future you'll be able to prove that money you're bringing to the bank are completely legit. So that's the thing. But there are not many at the moment, because banks just don't understand how to prove it. All right, I can show them like a report taken from Chainalysis, for example. One of our competitors out of US, and bank says, all right, so these are just numbers for me, pretending that there is no illicit activity in there. But before, where that Bitcoin was, for example, and how can I prove it? Not only Chainalysis, right? I need something else, something more. And because of that, we, and not only we, like a software company who is in AML, we develop some of the things helping banks to better understand the origin of money and crypto. So that matters. And yeah, because of that, there's a big gap between crypto world and banking world, and huge mistrust because of that. But I believe in just 5 to 7 years, with all of this regulation and better understanding what's crypto means and what it is in true and how AML works, I believe crypto is going to be the normal assets, like shares, like something else. So you can just deal with it and prove that you are a normal investor or trader. And if not, you'll be tracked easily. So that's the main idea here.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I mean, when we're speaking about banks and innovations and scalability within Europe, I think we should also touch on the digital euro, which is a project that might help us overcome this distrust. And Dean, you're probably the best person in the entire Czech Republic. But please, could you share some information about the project and maybe the current status as well of it?
Okay, that's fine. I'm also the part of the working body in the private and the public wealth of the Digital Euro Association as a member there. And alongside this, everything is mentioned already from the colleagues here. And it's a good starting point that you mentioned a new draft from MiCA, which will be active next year, actually, in the 2024. Not yet, it's just a draft already. And I had the opportunity to saw and read the paper completely. The main point of all of these, and towards to the digital euro and all others that we have on the market nowadays, is much more understanding, not just put in the regulatory points what someone need to perform to publish or issue their kind of wealth, no matter if it's a stable coins, CBDCs or whatever. We still have a miss point between the technology and the cryptocurrencies. And the MiCA actually tries through the regulatory points to put under the better level that we can, the people and the citizens can understand the meaning of technology and the meaning of the currencies at all. And digital euro is a kind of project, as you mentioned, but I'm always better to say it's a buzzword. It will be nice to first to proclaim that the people are afraid if we switch to digital euro, we will lose our money from our banks and from our accounts that we already exist. It's not true, actually, because the digital euro is developed alongside the other coins and the other payments method. And the purpose of a digital euro is not to replace the existing euro, the traditional payment method that we use already. The point is to make the transactions that in a digital era, we have much more easier, safer, secure, and transparent. That's the point of the project of the digital euro, not to replace the existing monetary system. The first point, and the digital euro, the current state is still in the design of the architecture. Most of the things are already, because the issuing just one, like a coin from the European Central Bank is not a problem. It can take a few hours just to issue it. But the complete design of the architecture and the infrastructure is something that still needs to be improved and need to be put on the next level to bring the all comfort of a digital currency, not just a crypto, but a digital currency to the citizens. That's the point of that. And the first issuing of the digital euro official will be 2026, and hopefully in the full power 2028.
Okay, so a tad bit to go then.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. We have so many steps, especially in the infrastructure. The adoption of the digital euro will be similar to other digital currency that we have. Nothing special, and revolutionize. The principle is already exists. That's the point.
I heard a rumor or a discussion amongst other blockchain lawyers that Europe was afraid that Circle would enter the European market and issue their own euro stable coin. Is this something that is being discussed as well behind?
Yeah, some kind like of that, because actually the idea of European Central Bank to issue their own coin, so to say coin, is not just to replace anything. It comes from the point where not only the European Central Bank, all other central banks lose the point of their position in the market on the private other coins that we have, stable coins, cryptocurrencies, and the others. And all privately issued coins that already exist and the transactional processing payments methods from the Master, from the Visa, and the others, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, from all of them, because all other systems from the private sector, from the commercial banks issued, are actually overcome all steps that the central banks have in the transactional payment, especially when we have a transaction in the per capitas, peer-to-peer. And the idea actually in the old rumors comes from that idea that not to replace anything, not to harm anything, just to take a part in the game.
Considering that the space is growing so fast and there's a lot of different solutions and ideas that we want to implement, I thought maybe we could take a step back and ask us what is currently keeping perhaps companies from actually implementing blockchain solutions into their enterprises. Jakob, would you perhaps care to share if you have any ideas on that topic?
Sure. So part of what I do is really enterprise blockchain. Those are the solutions for big enterprises, and my vision, and I dare to say our vision as a company, is really that public blockchain will be the ultimate settlement layer for value on top of internet. So in the future, if everything goes well, for example, Ethereum would be the same as TCP or IP protocols for internet, so you wouldn't even know you are using it. And since the business ecosystem is changing, for example, in 50s and 60s, the ultimate and admired factory was Ford River Rouge in Detroit. On one side, you had literally dirt coming into the company, and on this side were whole cars leaving the factory. And you had just the job of managing everything inside one silo, and for that reason, ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, emerged. These days, the business changed. You have, for example, Foxconn company, Foxconn factory in Shenzhen, and they have thousands and thousands of suppliers that are shipping their parts into the company, and in the factory they are just assembling these parts. And what does it mean for the business in these days? You are responsible for organizing the whole ecosystem of around the companies. So the vision we have is that blockchain will do for business ecosystems and networks of enterprises the same thing that ERP is doing for a single company. And you asked for what is holding these companies back. Besides regulatory, obviously, it's also a technology. If you imagine how blockchain works and how these companies works, on one side you have one producer that produces products, services, or goods, and this could be tokenized. On the other side, you have someone who has money and wants to buy it, so this could be also tokenized, for example, in form of stable coins, because companies like to trade in their own currencies. And in between, there's some business logic with terms and agreements and everything around, and this could be all put into the smart contract. And you have the whole thing settled up, and instead of having some tiers where you don't have the visibility, you have the whole network connected, you can trace everything, and this also allows us to really build a real circular economy. But what is keeping these companies from doing that is privacy, really. Because if you open the smartphone from Foxconn and you see all the parts where they're coming from, but if you show them your cards to your competition and then know who you are transacting with, for how much you are selling, they see your whole business and they can undertake you. So it's besides regulatory, it's really privacy. That's what we are as a company working on. And also stable coins. There's not enough liquidity for these big players to come to the market, and let's say end users will still be the pioneers for DeFi and all of this. So yeah, I'm a believer that this all will happen on Ethereum, and we are working towards that.
Yeah, I share that vision, at least about public blockchain, so to say, and hopefully decentralized ones. Marcin, do you agree that privacy is an issue for maybe enterprises? Do you see that as well, maybe amongst your network, that this is something that is discussed heavily, and also perhaps the private public blockchain discussion? Is that something that is active in your network as well?
Okay, so first I want to a little bit come back to the gap, the currency gap. What I saw that in Poland we have a huge gap if we're talking about the blockchain and the public sector. But I saw that the gap if we're talking about the cryptocurrency is much bigger. But 2 months ago I talked with one of the biggest financial institutes around the world, which manage the budget, the budget around $4 billion is almost the same like market cap of the cryptocurrency in the top. And they told me that they have a lot of product based on the cryptocurrency and the assets, but they're still waiting for the regulatory, for the compliance. So it's a huge problem, because if we have the law and we know how to play, they told me that they will start, and then everything is start. So this is the first one. If we're talking about the privacy, about the public and the private blockchain, in the past few years, I saw that the public sector mostly using Hyperledger Fabric, Corda is the private blockchain, but from their perspective, after 5 years, they decided to maybe not put on the shelf the private blockchain, but they saw that the public blockchain can give them much more opportunities. Tokens, tokenized wallets, much more incentives for the clients, for their clients. So I saw that public institution, financial institution, try touching the public blockchain. But what I saw also, we have the technology today, if we're talking about the public blockchain, is something like 18 if we compare to the internet. We have, in the 19, we had Windows 95, we had Netscape Navigator, so we can interact with computer, with internet, we can touch it, but everything was very on the early stage. And here on the blockchain side, we have also, it's a very early stage with everything. If we're talking about the wallets, private keys, so today people say, we don't like the centralized services, but we like the decentralized social media, for instance. But what's happened when I forgot my private key? So I lose everything. So this is a lot of small things which we have to resolve. Of course, we developed a lot of every day, but it's still the early stage. So this is the first one. And the second one is that you mentioned decentralized. So I want to describe or answer what does mean decentralized. We have two words, decentralized and distributed. So if we're talking about the distributed, that means we don't have dependencies of the infrastructural layer. That means the nodes, the miners, are located around the world. And decentralized is we don't have dependencies of the business side. That means the owners of the nodes, miners, are located around the world and is no relationship between them. So if we saw in the BTC white paper, we saw only the distributed blockchain, not decentralized. Decentralized is the word which appears later. So I think we have two different words. So the blockchain is distributed, but decentralized is a huge challenges for us because where is the business, there is our money. So I think it's a huge problem, right?
Yeah, very interesting. And listening to both of you speak, it seems quite clear that maybe we're not there yet, and there are several factors, including, apologies, including regulatory, that is stopping the wheels from turning maybe as fast as we would, but also, of course, development. Dimitri, you, as someone who works actively with regulation and ensuring that clients are compliant, do you share this assessment that the regulatory landscape is difficult to navigate? And how do you feel it would be possible to perhaps overcome it and regulate crypto assets in a safe manner?
All right, you love asking tough questions to me. All right, so coming back to stablecoins and stuff. Just a quick mention that European Banking Authority, who is in charge of stablecoins and so on and so forth in Europe, will not allow Circle to issue stablecoins in any sort of case because they're already on it. I mean, the European Banking Authority to launch their own stablecoins or something. But in case if they will allow something, it doesn't make sense because everybody is actually using most of the cases Tether or USDC or something, and stablecoin in euro won't change anything from my perspective. Regarding the regulators, the first and the main statement here is that technology is always in advance. So if regulators, they still think they can regulate blockchain, I have bad news for them. All right, it's almost impossible. The only thing that they can do is to softly regulate it, or to make sort of MiCA statements or rules which can let people to just understand how that works, like regulatory framework. But it doesn't mean that companies or businesses can't follow already existing rules, as well as AML and taxes I already mentioned. Because of that, we at BitOK, we built sort of a software which helps like professionals, I mean traders and investors and companies to handle their compliance and tax and make this done without any participants. You ask me how me or how my how my team handles in there, but they're not on it, so they don't do anything. It's software who is in here, and I believe that lawyers are yeah, very important, great people in terms of, making things done when it comes to crypto and so on and so forth. But with the blockchain, you should regulate this technically. Some of these software solutions and some of the techniques who are already able to handle compliance in companies, to handle taxes and so on and so forth. But it doesn't mean that people are not about to do anything. But they should do, but software matters from my perspective. So how we actually do that? We our approach here is to let people provide their wallets. When I say people, I mean companies and private persons, to provide their wallets addresses as well as APIs of centralized exchange, so we can collect it, then check the risks, and handle all of the accounting and tax in just one place. So because of that, because of existing regulations, we can keep an eye of everything is happening with wallet, and pretend it is compliant, because we are a member of different kind of associations such as SFTS, ICANN, ACAN, and that means that once you use such a software, not only ours, could be many on space, you are compliant. Besides, I'm not sure if there is enough rules in terms of crypto. So people are still, crypto people are still, they're still very, hands-free in terms of what we can do, what they can do, they can trade or sell or whatever. If something bad happens, with the FTX or with some of the US citizens, SAC or some of the regulators will come after you. If not, you are free to do anything right now. And that's a bad thing, because it shows that Web3 world exists outside or beyond regulators. And at the same time, they think they can regulate it. That's a controversial stuff. And our mission is to handle it and to present the easy-to-use software which can handle it in one place and let people stay legit. In case of banks as well. So you may, prepare a short report with all of the origin of your funds coming from crypto. Or for example, if you are a betting company or an iGaming solution, you should, check all the crypto transactions coming to your accounts. So that's also the thing you need to make without any regulations, because crypto is the subject of laundering. And from my statistic, I don't want to get you much in the details and numbers because it's boring, but that's an important one. And regulators can help here, at least to help companies to follow the rules, but not very strictly, because I started with a statement that technology is always in advance. So we all should remember it. Thank you.
I agree. That's one more thing. I agree 100%, and I think the regulatory is very important. But I also think that UX, UI, and education is very important, because one use case in Poland, the Polish Post launched the crypto stamp. It's a few months ago, and it was very hyped in Poland. Everyone talked about it, but if the people outside the Web3 space, outside the blockchain, the crypto space, they try to buy or take this stamp, the crypto stamp, it was so huge, it was a huge problem, because you had to install MetaMask on the Polygon, you have to transfer Matic from crypto exchange to the wallet, and the next a lot of steps later. And my colleagues said, if the Web3 looks like that, I don't want it. So I think the regulatory is very important, but UX, UI, and education is also very important in Web3 space.
For sure. And I think we have time for one last question. And I mean, it's quite clear that we're all sitting here and the regulatory aspects of Web3 is upon us and something we need to adhere by and take into account. And in Mika, for instance, because when we talk about blockchain, oftentimes we also discuss the environment and sustainability. And in Mika, there's actually a requirement for issuers of crypto assets to share what consensus mechanism they're using, if it's proof of work, proof of stake, and how that affects the environment. And I think that blockchain and sustainability is something that is becoming a quite hot topic nowadays. And I was wondering if, Dean, perhaps if you could share some ideas on this topic.
That's right. The Mika has pronounced that the sustainability and the more than one pages were mentioned about sustainability, and actually the full mouth of all industries and the society in the last decade is about sustainability and what actually it belongs to. We have the goals of the SDG 17 goals pronounced up to be finished up to 2030. We have in the different sectors and different areas of industry a lot of talk about and thoughts about sustainability. What actually sustainability should do and will be connected directly with Mika pronouncing with the cryptocurrencies and all digital wealth is actually about a process of maintaining everything that we have nowadays as a resource to put remaining unchangeable for the next generation. As we are living in the process of digital transformation worldwide, that means the old assets, tangible or intangible, that we have nowadays should be digitized somehow. The core of all of these processes in the digital transformation is data. And we have to protect our data to be an owner, that every citizen should be the owner of its own data. The only possible technology that we have nowadays at the moment is a blockchain, actually, and actually the public blockchain, not a private nor the hybrid solution that we have. And actually all regulations towards to pronounce how the public blockchain technology can be adopted to be sustainable, to protect the citizen rights and make a trust through implementing a blockchain technology, not only crypto. Crypto is just a derivative that comes after. And the point is still how to implement technology and being a public in all sectors with a blockchain implementation. Most of the sectors that we have nowadays, for instance, the supply chain is in each industry, no matter which we are talking about. The problem is still in the supply chain, there are a lot of obstacles and challenges in all steps. And the most cases I use from the moment from A to B in some delivery or transportation, but the core problem is much more deeper than just following the steps, because the implementation, therefore, actually the implementation of the blockchain in the supply chain was not yet successful, because we use just the cryptocurrencies on the steps to track some points. Okay, tracking is very, very important for the supply chain, but we have a lot of protocols and the others blockchain-based technologies that towards and goes into the supply chains with their solutions. The most wider is a hyperledger. Sorry, but hyperledger is not a blockchain. I have to pronounce that. But most cases is hyperledger as a solution. Actually, the blockchain should be implemented a step before supply chain exists. And to follow the chain of custody. All steps should be serialized before all steps performed afterwards. And then will be much more easier and, of course, sustainable to make a monetization of this data through the whole process and to make a track and trace back for all the processes. And the sustainability is actually not just these 17 goals or 5, 8, environmental, climate, everything is about sustainability. That's right, that's correct. But the most common problem, the core problem, is costs. And using digital currencies, especially the cryptocurrencies, with the smaller fees in the transactional processing, we can achieve lower costs in the supply chains, and such a kind of being sustainable. And therefore, the MiCA pronounced and give the view of frameworks how to be adopted and to achieve these lower costs and much more transparency and be sustainable, of course.
And this will, of course, be a speculative question, but how far do you think we're off from seeing actual implementation in a sustainable way, for instance, in the supply chain? Very difficult question, I know, and but when do you think that the technology will be there, but also that the companies will be able to implement it in a cost-efficient way and keep it flexible and scalable for the future?
Yeah,
demand?
two steps, two short steps actually. The first is, as we mentioned already, a regulatory policies that we have to adopt and to accept from the regulatory bodies. And the second is pushing straight forward a public blockchain or a distributed ledger into the industries.
If I may follow up on the rough timeline, there's one use case we can use for the enterprises, and that's cloud. If we all can agree in rough terms that in 2006, when AWS came with public blockchain, and this was the green light for companies to go into cloud, it took 11 years for 50% of the major new application to end up in cloud. So if let's agree that today is the green light for public blockchain to be the settlement layer, we have 10 or 11 years to really have 50% of all the major business activity to go into blockchain. So
yeah, I agree. I didn't want to make a year's estimation because I've already been involved in the writing some national strategies for the blockchain, especially, for instance, a friend of mine from Malta asked me to help him in some thoughts about it. And a few years ago, when they already published the national strategy, I asked him, when do you expect to be adopted? 7 to 10 years. That's something that is already.
In Poland is the same. We are on the cloud right now, and we start talking about the blockchain technology, and I think we need 5-10 years more to more adoption. And I think the adoption of the blockchain technology will be ready when we stop talking about the blockchain. Then we saw that adoption is ready.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for everyone, and thank you, Sultan, for the amazing conference and for having us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.